You weren't supposed to find this message. Not now. Not like this. But something divine guided you here. And it's no accident. What you're about to hear, only a rare few will truly grasp. Not because they aren't smart, not because they don't care, but because this message, this truth, wasn't meant for the masses. It's reserved, hidden in plain sight, designed for the awakened ones, the 2%, the chosen. So if your soul is vibrating, if your heart is racing and your spirit knows something is about to be revealed, you're not alone. You were called here. You were led here. And by the time this message ends, you'll understand why. See, chosen one, the world you live in is an illusion, a carefully crafted dream built to keep most people asleep. Every system, media, education, politics, even religion, is designed not to awaken you, but to control you, to keep you questioning yourself, to keep you doubting your power. Because once you know who you are, their control ends, and that is their greatest fear. You've always felt different, not better, just different. While others were busy chasing trends, you were questioning reality. While others conformed, you rebelled quietly, not out of anger, but out of truth. Something in you refused to settle. You couldn't explain it, but you knew there's more. More to this life, more to your existence, more to your purpose. That knowing, that ache, that disconnect from the world around you, that was the first sign, the first whisper from the divine. You're not one of them. You're one of us. But being chosen doesn't mean life gets easier. In fact, for the chosen ones, it gets harder, more intense, more isolating. Why? Because you're not just here to live. You're here to awaken. You're not just here to survive. You're here to shift frequencies, to dismantle illusions, to bring light into a world that thrives on darkness. And because of that, your path has been anything but ordinary. You've been misunderstood your entire life. Family members didn't get you. Friends turned on you. Coworkers whispered. You were labeled too deep, too sensitive, too intense. But that was never the truth. The truth is, they sensed your light, and it threatened their shadows. You didn't fit the mold because you were sent to break it. Chosen one, your soul is ancient. It carries wisdom far beyond your years. That's why you've always been drawn to knowledge, to mystery, to the unspoken truths that others avoid. You've walked through fire, faced betrayals that would have broken others, carried burdens that weren't yours. And through it all, you kept rising. Why? Because something greater was guiding you, preparing you, forging you. This is the part most won't understand, because this level of awakening comes with a price. It demands sacrifice. It requires isolation. You'll lose people, opportunities, sometimes even parts of yourself. But every loss is a clearing. Every ending, a beginning. And the deeper you walk into your purpose, the more the world will try to distract you. But you won't fall for it anymore. Because now, you remember. You remember that your spirit chose this incarnation. That you didn't come here by accident. You came here on assignment. You remember that the chaos you endured wasn't punishment. It was initiation. You remember that your sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's your superpower. You feel things others ignore. You hear what isn't said. You see through masks. And that discernment? It's part of your armor. But now, the real test begins, because as you awaken, the matrix will push back. You'll notice more resistance, more spiritual attacks, more people questioning your transformation. That's how you'll know you're getting closer to truth, because the deeper you go, the louder the noise becomes. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're tapped in. The universe is speaking to you through signs, synchronicities, dreams, numbers repeating, conversations that seem too perfect to be coincidences, people entering your life at the exact moment you needed them. That's not random. That's alignment. That's evidence that you're walking your divine path. And here's the rarest truth of all. the one only 2% will understand. Your awakening isn't about becoming more. It's about remembering who you've always been. It's not about adding. It's about stripping away everything the world put on you. Every lie, every label, every fear that told you you're not enough. You are not here to be liked. You're here to be light. And sometimes that means standing alone. But you're not truly alone, because all across the world, other chosen ones are awakening too. Quietly, steadily, just like you. We don't all look the same. We don't speak the same, but we feel the same. We know. And when we find each other, something magical happens. The grid activates. The light expands. The mission accelerates. You are not just someone with potential. You are someone with purpose. And if this message found you, it means the time has come. The distractions must end. The pretending must stop. The old you must die, so the real you can rise. You're part of the 2% because you're ready to see what others can't, to hear what others ignore, to feel what others numb. You're ready for the truth, not the polished, packaged truth, but the raw, divine, inconvenient truth, the kind that shifts you permanently, the kind that awakens your power. The question is, will you answer the call? The moment you say yes to the call, everything begins to change. The veil lifts. The noise around you doesn't quiet down. It gets louder. But inside you, something shifts. A calm power takes over, a silent knowing. You stop looking for validation. You stop trying to explain yourself. Because now, you understand. Those who are meant to find you will, and those who aren't never could. You don't owe the world your light. You offer it, not from obligation, but from overflow. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop doubting your intuition just to fit into spaces your soul was never meant to enter. That's when the universe starts opening doors no man can shut. That's when divine protection surrounds you. Not because you begged for it, but because you were chosen for it. This is why demons fear you more than one of their own. Because you've tasted darkness, yet chose the light. Because you've been betrayed, yet chose love. Because you've been shattered, and still you rise. You didn't sell your soul to survive. You awakened your soul to lead. That's power no dark force can touch. That's why they couldn't destroy you, no matter how hard they tried. And they did try. Oh, they tried. They sent people into your life who wore masks, smiled with their mouth but cursed with their spirit. They drained you, used you, tried to confuse you. But they never succeeded. Why? Because you carry a frequency that cannot be duplicated. You carry divine coding in your DNA. You're not just awake, you're activating others. And the dark realm knows it. Now you're beginning to realize something else. Your silence is a weapon. You don't need to fight every battle. You don't need to defend your calling. Your presence alone shifts atmospheres. Your words, when spoken with intention, cut through illusions like a sword. That's why they provoke you. That's why they test you. Because your calm shakes their chaos. Your peace triggers their demons. But chosen one, you don't need to react. You just need to know. Know that everything that left your life was allowed to leave. Everything that broke was meant to break. It wasn't rejection. It was redirection. It wasn't failure. It was refining. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. Your delay wasn't a denial. It was divine alignment. God was keeping you hidden until the right moment. And that moment is now. The moment where you no longer chase, but attract. No longer beg, but declare. No longer wander, but walk boldly in your knowing. This is where your power settles. This is where your real journey begins. You may feel tired, but don't mistake tiredness for weakness. You've been carrying spiritual weight that others can't see, fighting battles in realms most don't believe exist. But even in your weariness, you're winning. Even in your silence, you're shifting timelines. Even when you feel unseen, all of heaven is watching. And now that you've awakened to who you are, you'll notice the separation, not from ego, but from energy. You can no longer sit at tables where gossip is the meal. You can no longer pretend that small talk feeds your soul. You're craving depth. You're craving alignment. You're craving truth. And that's not a curse. It's a confirmation. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to stand out. And now that you see it, you can't unsee it. Now that you feel it, you can't unfeel it. You're not going back to sleep. You can't. You were pulled out of the matrix to lead others out. And it's not about numbers. It's about frequency. The light of one awakened soul can shift entire bloodlines. That's why your healing matters. That's why your journey was never just about you. Your pain had a purpose. Your scars have wisdom. Your voice has weight. And when you speak, the right ones will hear you, not just with their ears, but with their spirit, because you're not talking to their mind. You're speaking to their remembrance. You're reminding the other chosen ones who they really are. That's the power you carry. That's the responsibility you hold. And that's why it's been so hard. Because God doesn't give average battles to divine warriors. He allows the pressure to create the diamond. And chosen one, you are rare.